show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. Stand up, shout out, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. New England pride. Hey kids, LePage here.
And I'm Tina Marie Billing.
Welcome to another fun episode of New England Pride TV. First, there's something really exciting happening, and I wanted you to know about it. And I'm ambushing Tina right now because happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. It was Tina's birthday. And if it wasn't for Tina, this show would probably not be happening. She helps out so much. So thank you and happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Did you do something really fun for your birthday?
Yeah, I went out to dinner with both my kids.
Oh,
we
that's
had a
fun.
nice dinner. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to start our show with Pride Pets. And today, Pride Pets is about...
The Animal Rescue Network of New England's primary purpose is to provide care and shelter for rescued homeless dogs and place them in their permanent homes. The mission is to curb problem high-kill shelters by saving the lives of many deserving pets and giving them a second chance at life. Many shelters across the country must kill dogs when the shelters are overcrowded in order to make room for incoming animals. Meanwhile, in another shelter across the state borders, there are no dogs available for adoption. An opportunity for a pet to find forever home is lost because it sits waiting. By networking, animals are transported from high-kill, high-traffic, and overcrowded shelters to New Hampshire, where they have an abundance of adopters.
The Animal Rescue Network of New England also helps the local community by helping local dog owners rehome their dogs when necessary, and by holding low-cost rabies clinics so that the local residents can keep their dogs up to date with vaccines. If you want to find out more about this wonderful organization, please contact them at 603-233-4801. We'll be back with more New England Pride TV right after this.
New England Pride TV is brought to you by the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, Remax Vision, Bay State Savings Bank, Safe Homes, Joseph Gonzalez Dofre, Boston wedding photographer, Paul Chasen Interior Design, Nuovo Restaurant, Dr. Frank P. Fetchner Plastic Surgery, Fallon Health, The Queen's Cups, This Week in Worcester, Electric Haze, Escape Games Worcester, The Fireplace Room Restaurant, Uniquely Your Decor, and Art Reach.
Hey kids, we are back, and our guest with us today is Joshua Croak. He is from a very exciting it's a new adventure for everybody, right? Involved?
It is, yeah.
It's called, why don't you, I'll let you tell the viewers what the name of it is and what the mission statement is, and then I'll ask you a few questions about it.
Great. So the campaign's called Love Your Labels. It's a movement to embrace labels, eliminate stereotypes, and empower individuals. The campaign is rooted in identifying bias and getting people to have uncomfortable conversation that leads to change.
I love that you just said leading people to have uncomfortable conversations.
That's right.
Because we're all so afraid of not being politically correct, and if we don't have a discussions with people who have different viewpoints or backgrounds, we don't learn.
That's right, absolutely. And so people, as we've started unveiling this campaign and having conversations, are like, oh, well, I've always wanted to talk to this person about this, but I'm always afraid I'm going to say the wrong thing. Right?
And I'm one of those people, and are you one of those people too?
I can be sometimes,
yeah.
And
Sure.
navigating it through that can be challenging because you have to put yourself out there a little bit, right?
Right.
And so as part of this campaign, we're trying to help educate people on the proper ways to engage in a positive dialogue regarding things that you may not know about, but you want to become educated in.
Now, I was fortunate enough to have a meeting with you before this kind of took off, and we were meeting in your office, which is beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Great view.
Thank you.
And I was so excited for you. How did this idea, come to be?
Yeah, so I've been working with the Worcester Pride Committee for a couple months now, and the idea originated out of thinking of what could a brand campaign be for Pride 2018, right? And then kind of had this idea, started talking with people about it, and realized that there's a lot of power in the intersectionality that this campaign can expose and bring. While our first photo shoot, which we had to really launch the campaign, the single identifier was that everybody involved in that was representative of the LGBTQ+ community.
Right.
But within that community, you see all these other communities. You see people with disabilities. You see different races. You see different ages. You see all of the diversity that exists within communities. And so the campaign's really saying, people are a lot more alike than they are different, and we need to start having dialogues across these different community divides that exist right now.
Now, with the Love Your Labels campaign, where do you see this going? Are you reaching out to the entire United States, the world? What are you doing?
I mean, we'd love to see this be a global movement and talk about bias and stereotype and educating people on the best way to engage in conversation and to pursue knowledge and to pursue understanding of and empathy behind other people's experiences that you necessarily haven't lived yourself, right?
One of the things, getting back for a second about the very first meeting I had with you, I instantly just saw you doing a TED Talk-esque kind of thing about this.
Right.
In colleges and businesses, and is this something you're considering?
That's definitely something that we've talked about. The campaign really wants to create kind of a curriculum around sensitivity training, understanding the diversity of our nation, of the world, and really starting a dialogue about how we can unify. Our campaign tagline is unique and united, identifying that everybody is unique in of themselves, but united behind a voice of equality. One of the things that's important, and some of the pushback or some of the questions we've got regarding the campaign is like, I don't like labels. I don't like the term labels. I don't like what labels mean.
Right.
And we always ask, one of the questions I always ask is why do labels make you uncomfortable? And they're stereotyped. They have been used to oppress and shame.
Right.
And so we're saying labels, as much as it is a face of this campaign, it's really about shedding the stereotypes surrounding words that describe but don't define people.
And this is one of the things we discussed earlier, and it got me excited and made me understand where you're going with this, because I had a big problem. If you've ever seen the show before, if you're watching this show for the first time, or if you watched in the past, you'll know I bring this up constantly. I had a really, really terrible time with the label queer. Yeah. I grew up and queer was used, and it was usually followed by a beer bottle thrown at the back of your head.
That's right.
But now, I'm 58, and the youth, the LGBTQ youth, are using it. They've owned it. They have declared it theirs. They own it, and it's almost a word that they use as empowerment now. There are queer dances and queer this, and I had a hard time wrapping my head around that, and that's a label that could use some discussion.
Right. Well, and it's so important to identify and be introspective as to why certain words or certain experiences or certain things give you this visceral reaction.
Right.
Like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
One of the things that we talk about a lot with the committee and people that are starting to be involved with the campaign is that little voice in the back of your head, that you take oftentimes as the voice of truth, but really it's the voice of years and years of a certain perception around a single label, or
like it's almost like conditioning. Like
it absolutely.
When you hear that, your brain just goes to one place.
We've absolutely been conditioned in a lot of ways, and so we're trying to break down that conditioning and say, how can we be introspective and have conversation and dialogue with other people, and address the real feelings behind labels, why people have aversion to them, why people accept and celebrate some of them.
Now, we've got about a minute left, so with that minute, I'm going to say that I'm very, very excited for your vision and your mission, and the group of people you're surrounding yourself with, because they're all positive and they believe in this project, which is so exciting.
It is.
And let's give our viewers at home, first of all, you've got a website, a Facebook page, an Instagram.
That's right.
Hashtags.
Yep.
Give us all that.
Great. So people can find us at loveyourlabels.me. That's our website.
Okay.
We're on Instagram at love.your.labels. Facebook, just type in Love Your Labels and we come up. Okay. And people are able to get involved in this campaign. On our website, there's a form to submit that has, some demographic information. You can self-identify with your labels. We keep all the personal information private. That's a concern that's been raised. But we're looking to host community events across the country, across the world.
Right.
So people who identify with different community groups, whether it's a veterans group, whether it's people living with disabilities, whether it's different campaigns like the Black Lives Matter movement or the Me Too movement. We want to bring together these groups and these communities to show the diversity and how everyone really is connected.
In some way.
In some way, exactly. It's almost like the 6 degrees of separation,
You're right, it is.
But oftentimes it's much smaller than 6 degrees, for sure.
Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
And for those of you who are watching at home or on YouTube or on Facebook, just go to Love Your Labels Facebook page, like it, go to the website. It's really a great mission.
Thank you.
So we'll be back with more New England Pride right after this.
Hey Dale, it's me, Miss Lady Sabrina, and we're back with another letter. Well, the letter today had some personal things in it, so I'm not going to read the letter, but I will give you kind of a little synopsis on what it was. It's about someone who is constantly kind of picking the wrong person. Like picking people of a specific ilk. So we're going to talk about that for a minute. All right? So here we go. One of the things that you have to worry about when you're dating is picking, people who fall in a certain category, like needing to be saved or emotionally unavailable. Now, we'll do the emotionally unavailable one because that seems to be the one that's most prevalent. Usually when you pick someone who's emotionally unavailable, you're trying to correct something. Like when you were a kid, that generally means that you weren't attached, or one of your parents weren't attached to you specifically. So, because kids don't function in reality, they function in emotion. And so kids generally think that everything that happens in their world is a result of something that they did. So children, when a parent doesn't attach to you, feel like there was something wrong with them. And then they kind of take that into the dating world. And then they move past emotion and then into logic. Once you move into logic without addressing the emotional, you kind of get emotionally stuck. So what happens is you wind up dating emotionally unavailable people, very similar to the people that you grew up with. Could be mom, could be dad, could be either. And what that generally means is that you are trying to correct something internally on an emotional level, which is why you date someone like that. Because if you can get that person to love you, then you have corrected whatever flaw was wrong with you, why the initial parent couldn't attach. Again, none of the attachment issues are your responsibility. They were unfortunately just a side effect of having a parent who just didn't get there. So what you have to do is you have to pay attention to who you date. You have to pay attention to the signs, like if a person isn't calling you back, or on the other hand, if you're with someone who is emotionally available and giving you the love and sustenance that you should need, but you're just not attracted to them because they're not giving you that dismissal. So you find yourself kind of kicking away the ones who would give you what you wanted and keeping along the same lines of the parent that could not attach. So I would suggest you check your pickers, all right? Look at your world, look at what you date, look at your history, and then compare it to maybe the relationship you had with your parents, all right? That's all for today. I hope this finds you all well. Love and light.
Hey kids, we're back with more New England Pride TV. Right now I'm sitting with YouTube sensation Samantha Lux. Welcome to New England Pride TV.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now I was first, this is going to sound weird, I was first turned on to Samantha with her YouTube channel. I am a YouTube maniac. I look up everything I can on YouTube and I'm addicted, and I learned so much, and I happened upon your channel and I was so impressed by your honesty and the way you shared your journey, because more people just need to do that.
Thank you, yeah.
Because so many people, I'm sure, reach out to you and thank you for helping them on their journeys.
Yeah, for sure.
We end this show every episode by saying, please don't be afraid to shine your light, because you might be lighting the way for someone in need.
Oh, I like that.
And that's what you're
exactly.
doing.
Yeah,
and that's what
yeah.
you're doing. So let's get right to it.
Okay.
How old were you when you first knew that you wanted to transition?
When I first knew for sure, I
Yeah.
was in my senior year of high school.
And you've been wrestling with it for years?
Oh
or?
yeah, for sure. I knew that there was always something in my head that was kind of off. I didn't know there was a word for it or something that, would explain everything. So
Yeah.
I kind of just
So-
put it to the back of my head and just forgot about it.
And what brought it to the forefront?
Honestly, it was a gif of Ariana Grande. I'm sure you know
A
Ariana
gif?
Grande. Yeah, it was a gif of her just
I'm
like
a huge
dancing.
fan of hers, yeah.
Yeah, she was just dancing.
And you said?
And I was like, why can't I be that feminine? Why can't I express myself so freely? And so then I
Right.
looked up online and I learned the word for it, and that's
And
literally when I
that's
told my
how-
mom that
yeah.
day, yeah.
So you started off with a gif of Ariana Grande?
Yeah.
And that was your inspiration?
Yeah, her femininity and that
Are
kind
you a
of stuff.
huge fan of hers?
Yeah.
Yes,
Her
I'm so-
music, her acting.
Oh, she's amazing. Oh my
sure.
God. So you're in high school, last year of high school?
Yeah, I was.
And you said, I'm transitioning on my last year.
Well, I waited until after my last year because I knew that kids in high school aren't the nicest, so
right,
I
right,
figured
right.
it'd be easier to
Yeah.
do it once I got out. But I did set up myself to transition right as soon as I could.
As soon as you could, and how does your transition begin?
For me, it was with therapy and talking to my parents and letting them know who I was.
Yeah.
And then the next step from there was hormones, and then the social transition, which is when I made the name change, stuff like that. And
How was your parents? How were your parents?
my mom was accepting from the get-go. She knew that everything was going to be okay and that she would help me make it okay.
Okay.
But my dad was a little bit more tough. He is very traditional,
Yeah.
very conservative. So
Okay.
it was harder for him. But-
as I imagine it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, he came full circle though, and we've never been closer now.
Oh,
so he's
nice.
such a loving man. So he came around
So hormones begin the journey,
for me. Yeah,
and then you've had your first surgery was,
March of 2016.
and that was what?
My tracheal shave, which is the removal
Tracheal
of my
shave.
Adam's apple.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then came
And then came my bottom surgery, the first of 2 bottom surgeries. Yeah,
the first of 2 bottom surgeries.
Yes.
Okay. And where did you have that done?
I had it done in Scottsdale, Arizona, with Dr. Lay.
Very famous doctor.
Oh, yeah, for
Very
sure.
famous. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Oh, wonderful.
I'd recommend her to anybody.
Now, what was that like? 'Cause, for our viewers that are watching, who will be going after seeing this, going to your YouTube channel and checking out your journey in all of your videos, one of the first videos I clicked on was you pre-surgery and then 4 days post-surgery.
Yeah,
And my heart went out to you. You were in so much pain.
it was rough. Yeah,
It was rough.
Yeah,
And
but
you,
it's
and
important.
you did it,
yeah.
and you got the message out there that this is worth it. I gotta tell you, I love to watch. I watched a few this morning before this interview to remind myself how amazing you are.
Thank you.
Now,
Aw.
one of the things that I wanted our viewers to know is if they go to your YouTube page, you're very candid about pretty much everything.
Everything.
Which is, I think, the way everybody should be. It should be an open dialogue, and we should be very candid. And what was it like going to college? Because what year of college are you in?
I'm a junior.
You're a junior.
Third year, yeah.
So what was it like, and how do you decide how to handle that?
Well, I had gone into my freshman year as like a very newly transitioned person. So of course it was scary, but I picked a place that I knew would be as accepting as it could be, which was really important.
Which is UMass.
Well, actually, my first year I
Oh.
went to University of Illinois in Chicago, which is, it was a very progressive school, which was good.
Yep.
So I made a lot of friends, and it went pretty well, but there were some issues that occurred that made me
Okay.
want to be closer to my home and my support system.
So that's when you switched to?
Yeah.
And are you liking UMass?
Yeah, I love it. I
Oh,
love it.
excellent,
Yeah,
excellent.
it's much better. then.
Now, at your school now, do you belong to or go to any kind of a gay straight alliance or LGBT organizations at your college? Or
Personally, no, but I know that they do have a lot of
Yep.
like clubs and little support groups, as well as like a Stonewall Center, they call it, where you can
Oh.
go and find some resources
Yeah,
for
yeah.
transitioning and stuff.
Now, one of the videos I watched this morning before coming to interview you today was the video of somebody using the word tranny, and I just my heart went out to you because that was a very emotional.
Yeah.
Can you tell our viewers about that?
So I had met a guy at a fraternity when I was out like with my friends
Yep.
one night, and he came up to me and we kind of hit it off, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And then a few dates later, I ended up coming out to him because he was telling me a story about how he met this girl one time, and she came out to be a tranny, and this
Yeah.
was like this big, ridiculous thing, and he couldn't imagine that anything like that could have ever happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, I'm transgender.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
you don't like
as
transgender?
a matter of fact.
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
he like sat back. He's like, wait, what? Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean? What do you mean? Like, and then I don't know. He got over it, but
And you just put it out there, and
Yeah. that's what I think is the most important. Just being very unforgivingly.
I think
myself,
you're
you
an
know?
inspiration to so many.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah.
really? I mean, I don't say that lightly, because it's people like you. It's young people like you. How old are you now?
20.
It's young people like you who are paving the way for more acceptance.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's my biggest goal, is to just make acceptance and
And you're doing
exposure
it.
for the
And you're
trans
doing
community.
it.
Yeah.
Now we have like 30 seconds left.
Okay.
Please look into camera 2 right there, center camera,
Camera 2.
and
Hi.
tell us your YouTube channel, and so people can start following you.
Okay, so my YouTube channel is Samantha Lux. You just type in Samantha Lux on the search bar. I'll pop right up. And yeah, that's where you
pop
can
right
find
up.
me, yeah.
And you'll get great makeup tips too.
Yeah, plenty of makeup tutorials for you.
All right, thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining
thank you
us
for
today. It
having
has been
me.
an
Thank you for having
absolute
me.
pleasure.
Yes, you too.
We'll be back with more right after this.
New England Pride TV is brought to you by the Hanover Theater for the Performing Arts, Remax Vision, Bay State Savings Bank, Safe Homes, Joseph Gonzalez Joffre, Boston wedding photographer, Paul Chasen Interior Design, Nuovo Restaurant, Dr. Frank P. Fetchner Plastic Surgery, Fallon Health, The Queen's Cups, This Week in Worcester, Electric Haze, Escape Games Worcester, The Fireplace Room Restaurant, Uniquely Your Decor, and Art Reach.
Hello, and welcome back to Rod's Propaganda. So yes, I have no idea if anyone's seen my last segment, yet I soldier on. I've been grappling with my crippling fear of failure lately. Other people's failure, not mine. Okay, mine. And I shouldn't brag, but a celebrity recommended I see a therapist. And it wasn't just "get therapy" yelled across the street in reference to a restraining order. No, I actually know this person. But I'm a good enough friend to protect them from any public association with me. It didn't work out though. The therapist insisted she would continue seeing other people, and clearly I need someone full-time. I need a live-in therapist. I guess what I'm saying is that I want a dog. To love me unconditionally. So, a dog with poor judgment. Speaking of which, last time I mentioned the musical Hamilton. Heck, I even sang from it, which I will not do today, on advice from my lawyer. Actually, I have a lawyer now, in reference to something I'm doing in Bermuda, which is where I'm from, but I'll save that story for another time. So, Hamilton, it's a pretty good show. Oh, now they're probably going to want to use that in their press materials. But one of the things I love about it is that it reminds us of what a bold idea it was to have government for the people, by the people, back before corporations were people. And my parents were going to see it, and I was so excited to hear what they thought. So I find out that they love the choreography, didn't care for much of the sentimental stuff, which explains why I need the live-in therapist. And they were just blown away by how they managed the lines for the bathrooms at intermission to get people in and out quickly. And of course, I'm blown away that that was their takeaway from seeing Hamilton. So I was standing outside in the great outdoors in New York City the other day, looking at my phone for directions, when I hear this guy go, "Sir, excuse me, sir." And I'm like, don't make eye contact, don't acknowledge. This is New York City, he's probably just trying to scam you. But I gave in, and it turns out it was a construction worker who was trying to warn me that a truck was about to hit me because it was backing up into me. So I laughed at myself and I moved out of the way, but my wallet was gone. Yeah. The old truck backing up scam gets them every time. Oh dear. Actually, if you want to go to rodfergusonlive.com, you could sign up for my non-abusive mailing list. Twice. Once for real, and once with a fake email address, just as a private joke between you and I. Since we're friends now, I guess I could tell you my real name. I go by Rod, but it's actually short for Roderick, which is rather British. But I'm just so tired of people calling me Rob or Ron by mistake instead of Rod that I'm starting to go by Roderick. You can still call me Rod, as long as you can handle the responsibility of not calling me Rob. So I might have to change the name of this segment to Roderick's Proper Gander, or Roderick's Proper Gander. We'll see.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of New England Pride TV. It is always so sad for me when the show is over.
Yeah, me too.
We had such great guests today. Well, we always have great guests.
Yes, we do.
And hopefully you've learned something you might not have known before. I want to thank Joshua from Love Your Labels and Sam, the YouTube sensation. And I just want to thank you all so much for supporting New England Pride TV. We're going to end the show by saying what we always say, which is, please don't be afraid to shine your light.
Because you might be lighting the way for someone in need.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time on New England Pride TV.
Tune in, show us you've got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. Stand up, shout out, show us you got New England pride. Show us you've got New England pride. New England pride.